Welcome to the Empower Her Moments morning show, where we create intentional mindset shifts, empower women to embrace their potential, and open their hearts to their deepest desires. Join Margot, the beauty guru, your self-love and business strategist, and Dr. Alicia A. Williams, your transformation and empowerment coach. These dynamic women are here to guide you, inspire you, and uplift you. Together, they'll help you unleash your potential and own your journey. It's time to step into your greatness. Let's get started.
Have there been moments that you knew that you should have spoken up? In your relationships, your career, or even yourself, but you chose to stay quiet? What has your silence cost you? Dr. Alicia?
Ooh, come on, let's get into it. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And I ain't talking about the silence when in the Bible God say, hold your peace. I ain't talking about that silence. We're talking about being silent in moments where you should open your mouth and you should speak. So this is going to be a good conversation, Dr. Alicia.
It's definitely a good conversation. For somebody who's outspoken as I am, I can't say I'm always the one that keep it quiet. A lot of times I have to reel it back in. But there have been times, even throughout my career, because I think that's the one that hit homes the most for me. In my early years, when I transitioned from the lower level of education to post-secondary education, initially I was made to feel like I didn't deserve the positions. How did I get to where I got to so fast? And with there being old heads, or what we would call veterans, at the time, I just kind of say, you know what, let me stay in my lane. But I started to say, this is my lane.
Oh,
God didn't bring me here just to bring me here, or he didn't bring me this far to only come this far. So there were times early on in my first 2 years that I kept quiet, is because I was trying to figure out this new space, this new lane. But I began to quickly let them know, even at 5'3", I was a giant, and I wasn't going to just keep quiet. And I began to open my mouth and really begin to speak for myself. But because of that, I almost missed some opportunities.
Absolutely. So I can definitely track what you're saying, Dr. Alicia, and that's so profound. A lot of times as, being young, trying to find your way,
right?
You lack experience, right? You lack wisdom in certain spaces.
Right.
So definitely in career spaces, you do learn how to speak up for yourself. And a lot of times when you don't speak up, you miss out on opportunities, and it can play both sides.
Right.
However, but it's just so important that you grow in that space and you learn to communicate. What I've learned about when we talk about how you not speaking up can cost you, it takes me back to my childhood. A lot of us grew up in certain spaces and times, or, under certain, teachings from parents, the whole don't talk out of my house situation, keep everything a secret, you can't tell everybody everything. And you learn the distrust of other people because of your upbringing and how you were raised. And so this conversation really hit home for me because it allowed me to look inward. It allowed me to look inward and say, you know what, Margot, what were those moments of your life that silenced you? What were those things that happened to you in your life that caused you to be silent in moments that you should have spoken? So this conversation is great because I have some moments where I realized that my silence did cost me. However, I used it as a growing moment to say, hey, I will never be in that position again. Next time that happened, I will speak up for myself. I will have something to say. So this is going to be interesting because we have different perspectives of how people could become silenced. But we're having a conversation is because we feel like it's so important. Even if you find yourself in a space right now in your life where certain things have happened to you in life that have silenced you, we're having this conversation to encourage you to open your mouth and speak your piece.
Yes. I just believe in, as the your grandmothers would say, or old aunties would say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So you have to open your mouth. I speak about that quite a bit, even in business. But one of the things that I think that is very pressing right now is in relationships.
Yes, I agree.
What does it cost you in your relationships, whether it be in friendships? Because I can speak when it comes to friendships, even when it comes to your marriages, or your marriage? Are you withholding information when you know you should be having that conversation? And not having that conversation, what is it going to cost you?
Yes.
It's very important in those areas that you open your mouth. But I want to speak to in friendships. Over the years, I've learned I'm always the outspoken one, but there were times where I had to close my mouth because I didn't want to come off as if I was being demanding or I was requiring certain things of my friends. But I started seeing some changes within my friendships or within my friend circle when it came to how others may have been were being treated within that particular circle. And I'm just one of those people. I can't see someone else being mistreated and not say something.
Right.
However, I wanted to be like, okay, should I say something? Should I not say something? Is this my lane? I don't want anyone to feel like as if I was attacking them. But what I truly began to realize is that Lisa, say something.
Absolutely.
And if they truly love you and truly know who you are at heart, they're going to respect what you have to say and they're going to listen to it. Not mean that they're going to actually take my advice, but
Right.
it was about more, for me, it was about bringing awareness to the situation.
Well, you know what, Dr. Alicia, that's a great point. And I can be honest and very transparent with you to tell you today, I don't sit in circles. Today, I don't sit in circles where we cannot have accountability and have conversations.
Yes.
Because see, one thing about me, I know who I am today.
Yes.
And that makes the difference. So for me, in my intimate spaces, in my real friendship spaces that I have and I've created, I will always have something to say if an injustice or something's happening to someone that should not happen. And a lot of times, we're not only talking to the person that stays silent in the relationships or in their marriage and different things. We're talking about those friends who stay quiet in those friendships. Because one thing I do understand in this season of my life, your silence speaks louder than your words.
Come on.
So a lot of times we feel like being silent, we can stay partial with things,
Neutral.
or we can stay neutral with things, or we can, how the old folks say, hump the fence. But let me tell you this.
None of that.
In this season, in mature relationships, it requires you to stand for what's right or
That's
for
right.
what's wrong.
That's right.
And your silence speaks louder than your words could ever. So at the end of the day, we don't want people to misconstrue what we think or what we feel. And that's why we're telling you right now, speak up. If you're in those friendship groups and those friendship spaces and you're having a sister come talk to you about another sister, or you having a brother come say some disparaging things about another brother, you don't have to broadcast it to the whole friend group.
That's right.
But when that person, when that little birdie brings you that seed, you have that conversation with them, letting them know from a friend standpoint. And like we say, in a loving way,
In a loving
listen,
way.
that's not good. That don't look good on you. If we're going to be friends, if we're going to be in this friend group, and if someone misstep, we got to have the real conversation.
And let me tell you something. You spoke to something earlier about, for me, I have an issue when you don't speak up and you want to play neutral. I call that straddling the fence. It's
absolutely.
Because to me, I'm very much so on. It's not about you taking sides.
Right.
So, but when you don't speak up, that silence is very loud. It becomes very loud. And for me, instead of you saying, hey, this is, you know what? I may not agree with you, but this is the right thing.
Right.
This is the right thing. We have to, and I see this so often. I mean, at every level, and I've experienced it to myself. And I really want to touch on a personal experience. For me, I chose to end a relationship with a friend many years ago because I felt like it wasn't about her taking my side. It was about taking the right side.
Oh, absolutely.
And because you did not speak up, that told me a lot. It spoke volumes to me as far as how you felt about me.
Yes.
At the end of the day, be careful, because when they don't speak up and when they don't say certain things, it lets me know, or lets you know that they're not really who you are. How do I want to say this? I'm loyal to you and I'm giving you this, but it's not reciprocated.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. So we have to really pay attention to that and be really aware of that. And so I said, I can't have that in my life.
Well, you know what? This is the thing. How can you have a relationship where the truth isn't being spoken?
Yes.
How could you have a relationship? How could you have a friendship of any sort if we're not having a conversation. And let's be clear, guys, it's different reasons people are silent.
Oh, yeah.
We're not just saying everybody that's silent,
Yep.
you know, they're in a bad space or they're XYZ, but silence can mean so many different things,
Right.
and it can be interpreted so many different
Right,
ways.
right.
When you choose to sit in a space of silence, when you should open your mouth, you leave people to assume what you may have thought, to assume whatever they thought you were meaning to say or think. So I just feel like a lot of times, and I want to say this firmly, you have to understand when you decide to be silent in moments you should speak, you're betraying yourself.
Yeah.
You are betraying yourself. Not even the person that you're not defending, you're betraying yourself. And Dr. Alicia, I can so relate to the point that you were saying about, I ended a 20-year friendship for the same reason. It was a different perspective, and I'm not sure if it came from a point of being raised not to say certain things or not to share, but I had a girlfriend that we were friends for a very long time. And she and I shared the friendship, but her husband and my husband became good friends.
Okay.
So her husband thought enough of my husband to tell him what was happening.
Okay.
And when I found out what was going on, I was just in a state of shock because she wouldn't say anything
She
to
didn't
me.
even open her mouth
Oh
to
my
say
God.
anything.
And so we're 5, 6 months in, 7, 8 months in, and I get an invitation to a baby shower. And I'm supposed to be I'm your matron of honor in your wedding.
I'm your girl.
I'm your girl.
Okay.
And I've had this conversation with you before about not showing up in our friendship, not being there for me, not showing up in real, tight moments. So for me, I ended the friendship. And it was one of those tough things, right? Because when you spent that many years knowing someone, they're family. But at the end of the day, what happened is I grew and I matured.
Yeah.
And I wanted more for myself and more for my friendships.
Yeah.
And for me, I no longer wanted to be friends with someone who didn't think enough of me.
Come on, yeah. You have to first respect
yourself. In a
Yeah.
celebratory moment like that, who didn't think enough for me to say, hey, friend, I'm with child. Even if it's the second trimester, do it at some point. But just to go the whole time and get an invitation to a baby shower, oh, I'm good on you.
But Margot, it's so crazy to sit up here and listen to you because I experienced something very similar. However, the difference with this particular relationship, I was aware that she was pregnant, but wasn't invited to the baby shower.
Oh, wow.
And found out many years later, because here's what happens. Lean in, sis. Lean in a little bit. This is this mean girl mentality or this mean girl thing that we have going around. I wasn't invited to the shower because you had talked so badly about me.
Come on.
And so if I would have showed up, came in town for this baby shower, the friends and the neighbors would have been looking, what is she doing here? Because you said X, Y, Z about her, not understanding that friendship, because this wasn't the first rift. But the friendship was rekindled many years later.
Right.
But because during that gap, there was probably multiple things said about me. So if I would have shown up, it would have been all chaos would have broke out. Oh, what I think and believe, she never told anyone that we had rekindled somewhat of a friendship. And so it crushed me to find out on social media she had given birth.
Wow.
And me being who I am, because I've always been the one, I've always been the mender.
Right.
I've always been the one to speak out. I'm never the one to really keep quiet a little bit, but it crushed me because I said, okay, they say, fool me once.
Right.
But you can't fool me twice. And I could not allow that to happen to me again. So I respectfully picked up the phone and said whatever I needed to say. And that friendship 7 years later is no more. So this was 7 years ago, but it crushed me.
Yes.
But I had to speak up and let her know that was unacceptable to me. So I had to let her know that, this is not what a friend looks like. This is not what a friend does. We go back many, many years. And so it cost me a relationship, but I grew from that relationship. I was hurting. I will be lying to you if I tell you that it did not hurt me, but I grew up. Yes. Let me say this, lady. It grows you up in a way that you'll never imagine.
I totally understand where you're at with it. And it's so funny, Dr. Alicia, how you and I didn't even talk about this conversation. We didn't even talk about the friends that we had to, cut for knowing them for so long.
Yeah.
But very similar stories. And so we're sharing that, guys, because the thing is, again, we're not just having these conversations because we want to. We have these conversations because we're here to empower. We're here to encourage. Listen, there are things that happen in everyone's lives, but you have to be honest on how you assess things. You have to be honest on what you see when people show you. So I do agree, Dr. Alicia, ending that friendship was extremely tough for me. That was 20 years. Like, we've been through so much. However, what I understood was God had only positioned her for that season.
Ooh, come on.
And I had to be okay with the release. Definitely wish her and her family well. No bad blood. But it was just time for me to move on. And just looking back, I've grown so much. You know, grown so much from it, grown so much in friendship space. But this is why I feel like silence will cost you so much if you're not careful.
And to the point of something that you said, this is how I've known that I've grown so much, because I could see her today and say hello to her.
Right.
Where 7 years ago, it would have been so much animosity, but that would have come from hurt and not being healed from what was done to me twice.
See, but when you heal, you can speak and keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving.
And so that's why we encourage healing a lot of times in our conversations that we have on the show, because it's just something that comes with healing. Healing helps you move forward. Healing helps you be silent in the moments you're supposed to be silent to see the things that you need to see.
Most definitely.
Healing is so important, guys. And so I want to kind of flip it a little bit on post to us having to end things, or us recognizing people who are silent, to talking about the people who sit in that position, in that posture, and just don't know what to do, right? People that sit silent and understand that in this moment, I know it's something that I should say, but I'm betraying myself. You begin to lose parts of yourself when you are silent in moments that you should speak, because speaking up is not just communication; it's self-respect.
Yeah, you lose respect for yourself.
Yes,
but not only that, not just for yourself, people lose it for you.
Yes,
when they
absolutely.
notice, and it's a sign of weakness.
Yes, yes. And so the thing is that if you're a person that has found yourself in moments to be silent, figure out what's causing you to be in that posture. Figure out what's causing you to be silent. And like we shared early on in this episode, it can be something in your upbringing. It could be that teacher that told you to be quiet, that embarrassed you in that class. It can be that drama teacher when you was in that play that embarrassed you and silenced you. It can be that moment where your parent was frustrated and trying to deal with some things and came at you a certain way that totally shut you down forever.
Yes.
Look inward.
I've got to add something to that. Is what a lot of people don't realize is when you're silent and when you don't open your mouth, do you know that builds resentment?
Absolutely.
When you don't open your mouth to and communicate to your partner what you need in this season of y'all marriage, that it builds resentment. When you don't open up to that friend and say, listen, some things have occurred in my life and I'm no longer her.
Correct.
Let me say that again. I'm no longer her, what I used to accept. And this goes marriage, friendship, business.
Yes.
Let me talk. It can go in so many areas. You have to communicate to people. It is okay that you've changed, Margot. I understand.
Right.
Listen, at this big age, we better have been grown to some point.
Listen, if you ain't changing, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Say that again for the people in the back.
If you're not changing, what are we doing?
What are we doing? So we have to have the conversation. So I have to be able to tell you, friend, listen, I've really been going through something. I'm really not that person anymore. It was okay 5 years ago, but it's not okay today. Or I need you to come talk to me.
Correct.
We have to be able to open our mouth, but when we do it, we have to do it in a way to where you're going to receive what I'm saying in such a way and not take offense to it.
You're right. And another point I want to bring up, Dr. Alicia, is something that we got to touch on. Those people who are choosing to be silent, it's going to take a level of vulnerability.
Yes.
We're going to have to talk about that.
It's
going to take a certain level of vulnerability for you to really just open up. And whatever that is silencing you, whatever that is making you turn the eye the other way when you know that what's happening in this space is not right, you have to look inward and get some help for that. Because at the end of the day, when you make a decision to be quiet, not only people define you, not only are you betraying yourself, you're putting yourself in positions that may even no longer serve you.
Come on.
But because you're choosing to be quiet, you're not giving people an opportunity to know who you are. You're not giving people an opportunity to know and see how you've grown with you making a decision not to show up. And I'm just going to be honest. When you choose to keep your mouth closed at vulnerable moments and times, it makes the person that you're communicating with feel horrible. It makes them feel like you're not present. So you have to understand how you're showing up, how it's affecting how you're showing up in this room, affecting your partner, affecting your best friend, affecting your coworkers, the people that you're leading. It affects everyone around you.
It affects your business relationships. When you can't effectively communicate, the outcome is not what you desire, or it will not be what you desire. A lot of times people find themselves in those spaces because they want to keep the peace.
True.
They want to avoid the conflict because, I'm not confrontational. You don't have to be confrontational. That's why we talked about earlier, be able to say, you know what, God, help me gather my thoughts.
That's right.
Help me gather my thoughts so I don't come off in such a way to where I hurt her, because I'm really not trying to hurt her or him, but I want to be able to tell them this is how I'm feeling.
Well, opening your mouth is a part of having self-love. We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Opening your mouth is a part of expression. It's a part of telling someone how you feel, what you think, who you are.
Right.
And when you choose, and especially in vital moments, to keep your mouth closed, you lose the very essence of who you are. You lose your voice in that room. You lose your stamp in that space. And so a lot of times, fear silences us. And a lot of times under that fear, their insecurities. I don't feel like I'm up to par, or I don't feel like I belong in this space, or I don't feel like I'm prepared enough for this, or I don't feel like I'm mature enough for this. One thing I've learned in this season, guys, we have to be okay with saying, I don't know. I don't understand.
Please.
I'm not there yet. I still have some growing to do. Hello, me, yes, I need help. One thing about being vulnerable, it requires you to be honest and open about what it is that you have going on. Because what I realized in this season, when you position yourself in spaces and you can say, hey, Dr. Alicia, I'm struggling with this. This is something that I don't know. This is a skill set I want to get better with, but I need help in it. It empowers me when I open my mouth and speak about what it is that I need. It empowers me when I open my mouth and say, hey, listen, I want to get better in this space. It empowers. And a lot of people are afraid to open their mouths. Open your mouth. It empowers you.
It does. But not only does it empower you, it empowers others that are sitting in your same position, that are saying to themselves, oh my God, it's not just me. I am going through this too. As a speaker, someone who talks to people all the time, I get extremely excited telling my story.
Right.
I wasn't always comfortable telling my story just because of the position I was in or have been in over the years. However, it is freeing to open your mouth and share, because there are so many people that are, I get inbox messages, oh my God, that message hit right on time, or I dealt with this, or I was dealing with this. It is freeing to know that you're not just helping you are helping someone else.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. It's about understanding that you want to be your best self in this season. And so I just want to continue to encourage you all. Listen, by staying silent, being fearful, you will stay stuck in situations that no longer serve you. Listen, speak up. Open your mouth. Have something to say. People will respect you because unspoken words create unresolved issues. You think things are going to go away just because I didn't say I didn't like it, just because I didn't give my opinion. It's going to go away. No, it's going to linger. It's going to fester. It's going to cause resentment, Dr. Alicia. It's going to make your friend not want to be friends with you no more. It's going to make your husband not want to stay in the fight of the marriage no more. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to work through it. I tell my husband this all the time when we've recently been having conversations. I welcome our disagreements.
Oh, yeah.
I welcome the times we don't see eye to eye, because every conversation I learn something new. Every conversation I learn something different about me. And every conversation I realize I'll grow. And so it's just so important that we learn and push through to have those hard conversations, because your breakthrough is on the other side of you using your voice.
And it's not about winning. A lot of times people be like, no, like you said, when you welcome the disagreements, or, well, I agree. Let's agree to disagree, because what it does is it grows the marriage.
Absolutely.
Each of you are growing in this particular spaces, because like we just talked about earlier, even in your friendships, that you've been friends with someone 20 years, you've been married for 20 years. I'm not the same.
Right.
And yes, this may have been okay at this particular point, but now when you grow, you should grow with wisdom. And so now I can see
Absolutely.
things a little bit different. You know what? I didn't notice that.
Right.
Thank you for, I'm big on now. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention because I wasn't aware of that.
That's right.
That comes with effectively communicating.
Right.
One of the things that I also want to say is every time you stay silent, you allow people to continue to cross the line with you.
Oh, absolutely. You lose your boundaries.
You lose your boundaries, so you've got to speak up and speak out because if you don't, this just gives room for them to treat you however they choose to.
I love this conversation, Dr. Alicia. It was great.
It was.
I'm glad we were able to have the conversation because so many of us have been silent in life when we should have spoken. Some of us are sitting in fear. Some of us are sitting in spaces where we're not feeling enough. We're feeling insecure. We're feeling like, I can't say anything. But listen, your voice matters. Your voice matters not only to you, but it matters to the world. So listen, in this season, don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to show up the way God has created you to show up. Listen, show up and use your voice, okay? So as we close today's show, remember this. Growth is a journey, not a destination. So give yourself grace. Stay committed to becoming and never forget there is power in showing up as your authentic self. Whatever you're facing, whatever you're navigating, you are not alone. You are evolving, you are learning, and you're becoming everything you were created to be. The work you do on yourself today will show up in every area of your life tomorrow. Stay empowered, stay encouraged, and most importantly, stay true to you. This show is powered by Platinum Luxury Fleet, your black car luxury service. Listen, Platinum Luxury Fleet provides global transportation. So visit their website, platinumluxuryfleet.com. We'll see you next time on Empower Her Moments Morning Show. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.